Last night, United States of America striked Iran, and straight away after, the markets took a very big hit here. Because yes, ultimately, the more people, and especially the US, if they get involved in such kind of a war, the market is obviously not gonna be liking that. So on today's update video, I'm gonna be talking about why we saw this major dump towards the downside, obviously. I'm gonna be talking about the biggest consolidation phase where we are still, of this moment of time, still trading in. The big consolidation with the downward sloping trend line from the top side and the support line from the lower side that we're still holding on this moment, and much more important charts and data points that are telling us something about what we can be expecting next year, and for not only Bitcoin but also Ethereum, right? Because Ethereum is a big trade I am currently taking. I've even scaled up my trades even further on here because I do believe this is just a very interesting range right now here. So a lot to talk about, so don't forget to straight away slap on the like button back above 1,000 likes on today's update video. That will be highly appreciated, and let me jump straight away in towards today's video. So to kick off the video, of course, the big reason why Bitcoin saw this dump over the course of this weekend is because the US is striking Iran. And yes, because they have struck Iran, we are right now seeing, of course, a big dump across all markets, not only for Bitcoin, but especially for altcoins here, because altcoins are a little bit more risk on, and usually whenever there's war, things that are risk on tend to be performing very bad here. So yeah, it is still technically weekend, so we are right now creating a semi futures gap here, this time around 103,000 US dollars. So yeah, there's definitely still some upside potential over the course of this weekend left for Bitcoin, and to be honest, I won't be surprised if we are going to be seeing it, because yeah, if the US is involved in this war, it is ultimately going to be destroying Iran completely, because the capability from the United States of America is by far very insane here. So ultimately, I do think this war is going to come to a resolution very quickly, soon. And whenever that is going to be happening, ultimately, that is most likely where the markets are all going to be bottoming, and where the markets are usually going to be bouncing back very quickly. So we can see currently in this consolidation phase here, which I talked about many times before here, is that we actually broke below this lower side of support here, but we did touch the green box of support right here, and we clearly already bounced from off this level multiple times before here, and once again we saw a big dump towards the downside. Bitcoin touched this level, and now we're starting to see a slight little push back towards the upside yet again for Bitcoin. So that is obviously very interesting to see, and you can see here on the 12-hour time frame we're still trading in this consolidation phase. And yes, if you're going to clearly look at this consolidation phase right here, this small phase you're looking at right now is about 48 days already of consolidation. And here the bigger phase is already about 180 days or so worth of consolidation. And you can see that most of these big consolidation phases on Bitcoin, yeah, the maximum they tend to last here is 230 days. So yeah, we're just going to be closely monitoring these levels. We're going to be closely monitoring the dates. But personally, it is very likely to be expecting a big breakout to be happening anytime soon here. And I mean, if we're looking at the liquidity heat map, there's still some liquidity laying above us, about $200 million. Short liquidations laying around at 111,000 US dollars. And of course, we're still seeing negative funding rates, not only on Bitcoin, but especially also on ETH, which is by far heavily getting dropped here. But I will be talking about that in a second from now on. Because first, I want to be talking about this big symmetrical triangle here on Bitcoin. Bitcoin is creating, of course, that lower high structure, but also still that higher low structure. And yes, what I'm just expecting is just a major breakout to be happening anytime soon here, whenever we're going to be breaking either below the yellow line right here or above the yellow line right there. That is where the big direction is going to be called towards for Bitcoin next year. So right now we're seeing Bitcoin consolidating here, but as soon as we're going to confirm a lower low of a higher high, that is when the next move for Bitcoin is most likely going to be happening. And like you can see, we retested the low, but so far we have not confirmed the breakdown below it, so we cannot really clearly say that this is right now clearly a breakdown for Bitcoin. So yeah, we're still seeing, of course, obviously also here on that chart here on the daily time frame, we're still creating that head and shoulders pattern, and as long as we're going to be holding on towards the lower side of the shoulder, I think things are looking just quite okay here. And ultimately Bitcoin, you can just clearly see it on the top side creating a downward sloping resistance line, and on the lower side creating an upper sloping support line. So Bitcoin is just still consolidating. It's taking just a little bit longer than most people have been expected, but of course the big reason why we did got this move towards the downside is due to these strikes here. And ultimately, whenever all these things are going to be over, which I think is going to be happening fairly quickly, the markets are going to be rebounding in a very fast manner. So Very excited, and let's see how that's going to be playing out here. But looking at the M2 money supply here, there's still more money getting printed, and ultimately the consensus is that Bitcoin is going to be following this global liquidity chart here. So Bitcoin, in that case, Bitcoin is looking quite great here. And if you are interested in trading Bitcoin or any other cryptocurrencies, if you want to be trading altcoins whatsoever, make sure to check out BTTC here, because BTTC listed all of the most hottest pairs out there on the market. And on your first deposit, yes, on your first deposit, guys, you can get a 10% bonus. So let's say you deposit $1,000, you get a free $100. So make sure to check it out in the link description of today's video. It's definitely very, very interesting and attractive deal that you can currently claim here. So further on, I can currently clearly see here, if you're looking at Bitcoin and at the bull market years and then at the summers, it is always that in the summer of the Bitcoin bull market, we tend to perform very well here. And just as of today, it is actually officially summer. So we are going to be seeing very, very interesting price action, in my opinion, because this is literally what the data is currently telling us. And you can see also the fake out we're currently getting, it's just very similar like many of these previous consolidation phases. And this is really one of the worst times to be actually fade the market at that point, right? So we're still in this consolidation phase. We are literally sitting at the lows of the range here, where support is always found here. So let's see how it's going to be playing out here. But just like I said earlier, we're already quite long in this consolidation phase. But as soon as we're going to be breaking outside of it, we're going to be going quite quickly, just like we have always done here. But ETH also has been breaking down below this very important support line here, right? That $2,400 level was the main support for ETH here. Now we are clearly breaking below it. You can see on the weekly time frame as well, we got rejected from the highs here, which I talked about many times here already. And we're right now retesting this previous low in the market, which also acted as major support in the past as well here. So ultimately, I think it's going to be looking still quite okay here. ETH indeed is right now on a drop here. I set up my limit orders and most of them got filled here. I still got some orders on $2,200 and $2,100. So yeah, let's see if those are going to get filled as well here. But ultimately, I am very much betting on a very big push higher for ETH here. So let's see how it's going to be playing out. But I really think ETH is going to be doing absolutely tremendous. And yeah, I'm just loading up here. And I mean, I am not the only one who's doing that, because we have seen recently also on the Ethereum ETF here, there's been just so much accumulation. And of course, the data is also showing us there's more and more stable coins getting made on ETH. There's more and more transactions on ETH here. So things are just coiling up in general as a total ecosystem. But we have seen BlackRock aggressively accumulate ETH in the last period. And ultimately, I am just following the smart money. So yeah, I believe I can make a lot of money on this trade here towards the upside. My target remains to be the same, $4,000. I will be cashing very heavily if it's going to be hitting that level. But anyways, guys, if you did enjoy this video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, slap on the like button, and see you guys on the next one. Peace out. Goodbye.